We're live.
Hi, this is Blair Pleasant. I'm in Indianapolis at the Interactive Intelligence Interactions event, and I am with Dan Rood. Dan is the Senior Director of Content and Product Marketing. So welcome, Dan.
Thank you.
So you talked about liquid expectations earlier. What does that mean?
So the notion of liquid expectations is that customers are starting to judge an industry's customer service based on the experience that they're having in a different industry, which is kind of new. So the example would be you're seeing customers that are starting to judge how an airline does return policies based on the experience that I have dealing with Zappos. And so what's happening is that customers are starting to expect more and more that if you are a local dentist office or a bank, that you have the same type of customer service and deal with me in the same channel that an e-commerce company would. So I want SMS, I want chat, I want these various services to deal with me in all these digital ways that I want to be engaged with, but we're judging your customer service much more harshly in any industry if you don't have that type of customer care and customer service experience.
Okay, that makes sense. So Pure Cloud is obviously the big thing that Interactive is pushing promoting these days. So tell us a little bit about Pure Cloud, and especially the fact that it's based on Amazon Web Services and microservices, and how that differentiates it.
Yeah, so when we started 4 years ago, there was a lot of conversation around how are we going to not defend, but kind of message our using Amazon Web Services as the platform. And by the time we launched it, a lot of that conversation had gone more out the window. There's certainly conversation about should I go to the cloud or not. Now the conversation has pivoted to be more of a question of not all clouds are created equal. And I don't even mean that in terms of Amazon versus Azure versus Google, but it's how you architect in the cloud. And so what you see is a lot of companies that, to kind of check the box to say that we're a cloud, they're taking their architecture that used to be, let's say, hosted or a premise-based environment, taking that code base and putting it into a multi-tenanted cloud offering and then checking the box to saying that we're cloud. Our approach has been what we call a microservices approach, which is to leverage all of these over 100 different services that Amazon can provide that allows us to create features much more quickly, creates a much more elastic environment in terms of the ability to scale up or scale down. It fails more gracefully, meaning that every day servers break. Power goes out somewhere, right? Everything that is built on a server is going to break at some point. But if you're built on a microservices approach, it's that our customers are not going to be experiencing those failures because we're able to navigate through failure on the back end so that the customers don't experience it on the front end. So I would say from a microservices standpoint, the ability to have continuous deployment so that customers are not being shut down for maintenance, the ability to quickly put features into an environment and that creates a much more learnable experience for the customer, the agent who's dealing with that new feature, that new iteration. It's just a much more graceful way to architect solutions that increases velocity of features and also creates a much more stable, scalable environment for a company.
So what's a typical example of a microservice?
A microservice would be, I'll give you an example. We all experience this with, let's say, PowerPoint. I'm on PowerPoint, and sometimes I'll get a kind of a crash notification that says, "Hey, PowerPoint broke. Would you like to send the error report to Microsoft or not?" And that's because it's built on a monolithic architecture. And so a benefit of microservices would be that if you have all of these little services, so in our case, an IVR, an ACD, chat, profiles, any of these services that you use to run your contact center, if it's built on a microservices, if, God forbid, your ACD breaks momentarily, it's not shutting down the entire system. And so that's probably the best example in terms of designing against failure, is that even if something were to have a temporary disruption, we're not breaking the entire system, shutting your business down, but we're just having a temporary disruption, and it's one service like IVR or ACD or chat or the social channel that doesn't break the entire system.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been talking about Pure Cloud. What about CIC, your standard tried and true solution? What's happening with that?
So there's a ton of investment still going in CIC. Where we're pivoting is to say, how do we start leveraging the services that Pure Cloud is building to fit and accommodate and integrate into the CIC environment. We still have some really large customers that are coming into CIC. We're going to be selling CIC for a very long time because there are always going to be customers who need and want a highly customized premise-based environment. But from an overall feature standpoint, we're certainly building new features and capabilities within CIC. But the pivot for us is also taking new features and new channels and things that we're building in Pure Cloud and building it into CIC so that our CIC and premise-based customers can still take advantage of different services in the cloud that aren't necessarily going to be available within CIC.
Okay, and I heard that you're dabbling a little in virtual reality. How do you see that playing out in the contact center?
Easiest use case I could provide is a real one because a customer asked us for it. If you're a tourism company, you are trying to get people to take a cruise, go to a resort. If you're a company who is trying to get people to buy tickets for a certain venue, one of the use cases that we're seeing immediately is that we have one of our customers will give kind of virtual tours for customers who want to take a cruise. And so with virtual reality, what we're able to do is the user will be able to put on using their mobile device in a VR box. They're able to visually look around and see the amenities of this particular cruise ship while being on a voice interaction with an agent who's able to kind of talk them through what it is that they're seeing. So there's going to be a lot of, I think, really interesting use cases in hospitality and certainly others. But that's been the main use case that we've seen right off the bat of just a very practical, not way out there idea of I want to know what your hotel amenities look like, and I can control that environment while having an agent on a voice channel with me to kind of guide me through to tell me what I'm seeing.
Cool. Looks like fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dan. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.